Okay, so I'm going to shuffle and talk at the same time because it gives me something to fidget with, and I like to fidget while I process. So, what is going to be here is basically collective readings and collective energy downloads and things like my own experiences and my own personal opinions, perspectives, what have you. My experiences with the spiritual and the supernatural, and my connection to my gifts. So when I talk about my gifts, I'm talking about my gifts. I'm talking about the divine essences that I work with, the deities that I work with, the psychic collective that I work with, my specific collective, which is the New Wave Collective, so the new energy, the 5D collective, the new incoming processes, the new incoming codes. That's my collective. That's what I'm tapped into. And when we talk about guides and deities and codes, it gets really convoluted and it gets complicated, but it'll make sense when it makes sense, I guess. So if you're with me, you're with me. Basically, the energy is running through choices right now, right? So there's a whole bunch of choices because everything has changed. The whole game floor has changed. The board has changed, right? So when you're talking about your personal choices, it goes a lot deeper than you might think. And what we're being asked to look at right now is the soul choices, right? Do you want to know more? Do you not want to know more? Do you want to know how it works in the real world? Do you want to know how to get out of the matrix? Do you want to know what the matrix is? Do you want to know about your guides? Do you want to know about your spiritualism? Do you want to know about which way is left versus right in this context? In this context being your soul path, your soul story, your creation story, right? And where you're going to go day to day, minute by minute. And when we talk about awakening and when we talk about working with spirit and things like that, it doesn't mean that everything's just fine and that all your problems are fixed. Your awakening doesn't mean all of a sudden you wake up and you're just like, oh, I get it, I'm perfect now. No, in fact, it means you have to trudge through shit you never thought you were going to have to trudge through. Most likely stuff you've never even considered you'd have to think about. So you never thought about it, which is totally fair because if you don't know, you don't know, right? And that's where the choices come in, because the main starting choice, woo, that was interesting, is do you want to know? And the second choice is what are you going to do with that knowing, right? Because once the answers come, they don't stop unless you ask them to stop. Everything works off free will, right? And this whole energy is coming into a period of love. We're talking past timelines, we're talking past life, collective regressions, we're talking past memories, things, bleed throughs, timeline bleed throughs, dimensional bleed throughs, and there are things, okay, the timelines are real, alternate realities are real, parallel dimensions are real, all of the realms are real. And if you haven't been down that road yet, you might not, it depends, right? If you are going down that road, you're being asked to use your discernment, you're being asked to stay conscious, to stay focused, to stay on guard, because especially in the beginning, right, as I said, I got all these cards this morning. This is a whole bunch of repeats for me, but if we're reading collectively, it's all about the manifestations, right? So everything, especially now with this new month, everything that you've put all of your energy into is moving really quickly. Everything is moving really quickly. And it'll feel like spinning, it'll feel like spiking, it'll feel like delusions, it'll feel like you're unreal, you'll have disassociation issues and things like that. Grounding is super key, and I'm not talking just like, oh, think of a tree and imagine the roots. I'm talking like you need to drink salt water and lemon. I'm talking like get sleep, be bitchy if you're bitchy, just, you're gonna have to go through all of the emotions, you're gonna have to go through the thinking, you're gonna have to go through the spiral of processing, because on the other side of that spiral of process is the awakening, right? It's the consciousness, it's the things that are the answers you're seeking. And keep in mind that spirit speaks in riddle, right? They speak in tongue. So you have to read between the lines. That's why the discernment is so key, because if you don't have the capability of discerning what's really true for you or not, and we can talk about that, but you'll get swept up in it, and this energy could potentially burn you out. Now, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to tell you lies. I'm not going to bleed through and tell you things just because it'll make you happy. If you come for me, then you come for truth, because I can't really give anything else. I do not cross boundaries. I won't give you information that I'm not allowed to. If your guides tell me no, it's a no. Felt like I needed to say that. There's a shadow chain that needs to be released, and all of this manifestation is lingering on one solid chain. Okay, so there's something that within this choice of focus on this love for self, on this past life journey, on this becoming of what you are becoming, this magnetic focus, this new energy that you're stepping into and away from. But this specific thread this morning is just embracing the choice to love. And that love is in yourself, that love is in the divine, that love is in this new era of energy that's surrounding you. And again, that doesn't mean everything's okay. In fact, it probably won't be okay for a while. In fact, if you're really going through it, depending on where you are in this current spiral, it will crush you. It will strip you of everything you thought you were, and then there's more choices in that, right? Do you want to embrace the next level? Do you want to go through maybe even more? Do you want to go through less? Do you want to not touch it at all and just stop where you are? Because you're allowed to, right? And that's what co-creation is. The co-creation is the creation with everything. And when it comes to that creation of everything, that includes yourself. So it's not pre-written, right? There's this big mistake. There's a mistaking thought that everything is just pre-written, and there's a lot that is written. But certain souls have the power to change what's written or write new. So think about that. And the whole story of souls is a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. But if you feel you are a soul and you have a soul and you are a heightened soul or a soul of any intellect, then this new wave energy will resonate with you. And even if you are a soul of shadow, it'll resonate with you too. Because even the shadow side is involved, right? And that's the balance that's trying to be brought back together. It's the duality between both. Because what people don't realize is that even in the light, there is corrupted shadow, and that's coming to the forefront now, and a lot of readers are reading it, and a lot of people are picking up on it, and it's not a hidden secret. It's just the reality of the war that's happening behind the scenes, which there is an active war going on. And when I talk about things like that, I talk about on the earth realms and the heaven realms and the hell realms, across all the dimensions and timelines, there is a structural war going on, right? And that's coming out through this conflict of self and these contrasting dualities and these fears and these tangible insecurities that are coming to the forefront, because on the precipice of big change, right, there's always a crumbling and a teardown, and right now that teardown is your internal system. So with that being said, what are you going to do with the teardown of your internal system? You're either going to embrace it, study it, learn from it, elevate yourself in the school of knowledge, because that's what it is, right? Right now is the thread through. It's the training ground. It's where people are being chosen and thinking. It's also the rest period, right? Because the people that have walked through that door, the people that have already gotten to this point, are now the light bearers for the rest, right? You're now the flame carriers for the rest. So what we do is we speak the truth. We tell it as it is. We read the downloads. We read the codes. And we let the people know what's going on in truth, right? It's coming out of all of those insecurities about being misunderstood, those fears about being neglected, the abandonment wounds and the issues, creating and birthing a new creation. Creating and birthing a new creation. It's that divine feminine, right? The divine feminine is rolling back in through with a power that has been unmatched for centuries. And it's rightfully so. And she's mad about it, as she should be, because it's been a lot of oppression, it's been a lot of wounds, it's been a lot of war wounds and witch wounds, and the witch wound is healing. It's starting to heal because the attention is drawn to it and because the women are tired, right? Yeah, counterparts. There's a counterpart unity, counterpart within yourself, divine union within self, celebration, protected. It's protected union. This could be a relationship. This is also within yourself, but it's the masculine and the feminine, as I was saying, being blended together, right? In the right timing with the right sense, and carrying that flame forward for the rest. It's the creation of the new and the creation of an identity that you haven't lived yet, because the timeline is new. The timeline jump is new. There was one just in the last couple of days. And when you get really sensitive, right, you can track those things. You can tell when you've jumped. Oop, there we go. Yeah, walking away, fast movement. The divine is literally ferrying you into different waters. That whole timeline jump, what I just said. Everything with what I just said. You're being brought into a state of peace, a state of relax, a plateau, right? A silence before the next part of the war, which isn't a war in the traditional sense. It's not necessarily swords and blood, but it is intellect, and it is connect, and it is thought-provoking questions and connection and success and an unburdening, right? So financial stability, finances could up, finances could level. There's something you're not seeing in regards to your finances. Maybe you're worried about making, this is taking a turn, oh well, maybe you're worried about something in your job, or you're not seeing a way out of something, or you're trying to change careers, and that career is part of your duality, and your duality shift, bring you more love and stability, allowing you to rest. Maybe you're overworked, this whole feeling of being dragged through the mud, being stressed out and tired, being hyper vigilant and fixated and can't rest, completely restless. That's going to come to an end once you nail down the energy of the fact that you're allowed. You're allowed to think about it. You're allowed to take the time. You're allowed to take the rest. You're allowed to take the detours if you need to take detours. In fact, those detours, whatever detour you're being asked to look at, is going to elevate you into this higher consciousness of self and this creation that's coming for you, because we're talking like life-changing, right? We're talking like life-altering decisions, life-altering choices. That's bringing you to the Ten of Pentacles. The sacred geometry, the nets coming together, the threads completing. So all the manifestations, all the things that you've put out in the world, all the things that you've been thinking of, processing, holding on to, believing in, all of the hold the line threads, is opened new doors in the divine and for yourself, and it's opened new paths for you. It's cleared paths for you. It's created new directions. It's created choices and options. And a lot of this is love. It's very like love orientated, like partner to partner. There's a magic. Maybe you're manifesting your soulmate. But it's also really important to stay grounded in the fact that it's you, right? Because it's not just about getting a person or getting that fix off of somebody, because that's distorted and it'll distort the rest of your threads, right? So this is like, you have to be whole in yourself. You have to let go of the things that you didn't want to think about and things you haven't thought about yet. They're going to drop things on you like little nuts of information, and it's just gonna penetrate your doubt, right? And then when this comes in, your doubt's basically just going to get erased. There's just going to be a sense of like, I didn't need it and I don't need it and it's not serving me anymore. And then once you have that, it's going to shift the threads for you, right? So it'll bring you into the period of family and happy and successful joy and connection and sacred geometry and grids and a new grid. There's okay. You're creating a new grid for yourself. So this timeline jump has literally put you in a completely new sense of water, open water, free water, uncharted territory. So that's also part of the spiraling, because you don't know where you're going, which way is up, which way is down, who's talking about who, or what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be creating and thinking and speaking, and you're supposed to be feeling all of this energy and feeling this new energy about yourself and this aura about yourself, and you're supposed to be sitting in every single feeling you get. 3-3 on the clock as I say that. Every single feeling you get. Look for the threes, look for the birds, look for lanterns and candles. Flame is really important for this collective and the threads that I'm talking about, especially when it comes to this manifestation coming in. It'll be like a glowing light bulb. This is like can't miss it energy. That's all I got for you right now. I hope that helps somebody. Thanks for listening. Bye.